In the heart of a quiet village, surrounded by towering mountains, there lived a young girl named Lila. Her life was simple, but like many of us, she harbored a dream to change her life and the lives of those around her. Lila's family worked hard, yet they struggled to make ends meet. Despite their challenges, Lila believed that something more was possible. She knew that if she could change her life, she could change her family's future. But how? The villagers often spoke of the ancient stone of wishes, hidden deep within the mountains. The legend told that whoever could move this enormous stone would be granted their heart's deepest desire. But for generations, it had remained untouched, unmovable. People whispered that it was impossible, a task far beyond anyone's strength. When Lila shared her plan to find and move the stone, the villagers laughed. "You're too small, too weak," they said. "No one has ever moved the stone, and no one ever will." But Lila wasn't dissuaded. She didn't believe in overnight miracles or grand gestures. Instead, she believed in the power of persistence, the power of taking small steps every day to reach a greater goal. Determined to prove herself, Lila set out early one morning, alone. She ventured deep into the mountains, through winding paths and thick forests, driven by a quiet but unshakable resolve. After days of searching, Lila found the Stone of Wishes. It was more enormous than she had imagined, covered in moss and roots, almost as if the earth itself had claimed it. Standing before it, she realized just how daunting her task was. The stone seemed immovable, an ancient relic of the earth's strength and time. But Lila didn't give up. She placed her hands on the cold, rough surface of the stone and pushed with all her might. It didn't move, not even a fraction. But she returned the next day, and the next, always pushing, always trying. It didn't matter that the stone barely shifted. What mattered was that she kept going. The days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still, Lila returned every day. The seasons changed around her, the cold of winter, the rains of spring, the heat of summer, but Lila remained constant. Each day, she pushed. Sometimes for hours, sometimes only for a few moments, but she never missed a day. Her body grew stronger, her hands roughened and calloused, and though the stone seemed to resist, it was beginning to move, inch by inch. At first, the villagers watched her efforts with skepticism, shaking their heads as they passed by. But as time went on, their mockery turned into curiosity, and then into admiration. Lila's determination was undeniable, and it began to inspire those around her, though few admitted it at first. Then, after years of effort, something incredible happened. One day, as Lila pushed with all her strength, the stone finally shifted, more than it ever had before. It teetered, and with a final, determined shove, it rolled forward, tumbling down a slope, and came to rest at the bottom of a hill. Where the stone had once been, a shimmering pool of water was revealed, sparkling under the sun's light. Lila stood in awe of what she had uncovered. She had done it, not through sheer force or magic, but through relentless persistence. As she knelt by the pool, she understood that she had the power to wish for anything she wanted. But Lila didn't wish for riches, or power, or an easy life. Instead, she wished for something far more valuable, the strength to continue taking small steps forward, to keep moving, no matter what challenges lay ahead. When Lila returned to the village, something had changed, not just in her, but in the air around her. Her quiet confidence and the results of her persistence were impossible to ignore. The villagers, once doubtful, now looked at her with respect. Lila's actions had spoken louder than any words could. As time went on, Lila's farm began to thrive. Her crops were plentiful, her animals healthy, and her family was content. But the most significant change wasn't just in Lila's life, it was in the village itself. Inspired by her persistence, the villagers began to take small steps toward their own goals. Whether it was mending a fence, learning a new craft, or simply working a little harder each day, they started to see the value in the small, daily efforts. Years passed, and Lila's story became a legend of its own. She would sit by the fire with her children and grandchildren, telling them the tale of the Stone of Wishes. But she always made sure they understood the real lesson, that the stone's true power wasn't in granting wishes, but in teaching the value of persistence. She told them that the greatest changes come not from grand gestures, but from the small, consistent steps we take every day. You see, the journey to success isn't about giant leaps. It's about the small steps you take every day. Each push, each effort, adds up over time. And those small actions, whether studying for an extra hour, waking up a little earlier, or simply not giving up, can lead to monumental changes. Lila's village, once struggling, was now flourishing, not because of a magical stone, but because of the change in mindset she had inspired. The villagers had learned that success doesn't come overnight. It's the result of persistent effort, of small steps taken every day, of never giving up, even when the goal seems out of reach. So, what small step will you take today? Remember, it's not about moving mountains in a single day, but about the consistent, steady efforts that, over time, create the biggest changes in your life. The power to change your life is in your hands, it's in the small actions you take each day. Thank you for watching this story. If it inspired you, if it reminded you of the power of persistence, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this message with someone who might need a reminder that even the smallest steps forward can lead to incredible changes. And remember, no matter how big your dreams are, it's the small steps that will get you there. Every journey begins with a single step, so take yours